Hi, my name's Mark. I'm one of the pastors here at Trillium. Today is Remembrance Sunday for us here at Trillium. It's the Sunday before Remembrance Day when we commemorate the lives and the sacrifices of soldiers who went off to fight in the wars, particularly World War I and World War II. And we read a passage in the letter to the Hebrews written by, well, we don't know the author, but written in the New Testament. And it goes like this: and we are to provoke one another to love and good deeds. Now think of that word provoke, because it can, in its core meaning, means to stimulate or to encourage someone to act. But it has a more specific meaning about causing vexation or irritation or annoyance or frustration to somebody, to provoke them in that sort of angrily way. And I'm thinking for myself what it means for us in the micro parts of our lives, how we constantly are engaged in little acts of provocation to one another. I have two stepsons who are teenagers and are only 2.5 years apart, and they're in a relentless war with one another in provoking each other in negative ways, and got me thinking about what it must have been like for my parents. I have a brother a year younger than me and 3.5 years younger than me, and there was a constant state of warfare between the three of us throughout most of our childhood, as kids and then as teenagers. And it must have been brutal for my parents to live through that. And a lot of the provocation and the dis-ease in life occurs in these what I call micro places, in the little things that we do to each other, the little annoyances, the little vexing that we do to one another, the little ways we irritate each other. And it doesn't seem like much, but these are the sources of world wars. These little places of vexation and provocation are the sources of world war. In June of 1914, late June, the Archduke Ferdinand, the Crown Prince of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, goes to a city called Sarajevo. I would imagine most Canadians living in 1914 had never heard of this place, never even knew of its existence. The Austro-Hungarian Crown Prince goes there, and he was warned by the Serbian government not to go there because they had claims to that part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. That area was containing a lot of Serbs, and the Serbian government desires to create a greater Serbia that included that land. And that was a provocation to the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and they sent the Crown Prince to go there, and that was seen as a provocation back to the Serbian nation. And when the Crown Prince got to Sarajevo, there wasn't a major police presence for him, or police protection, because he didn't want to provoke the population there. And then through a couple of mishaps and wrong turns, all of a sudden, he's assassinated. And there is a drop laid into life that sends ripples out, and 4 years later, 67,000 Canadians are dead, and 250,000 Canadians are injured after 4 years of World War I. And it seems so insignificant. I mean, even the death of a crown prince of an empire seems only significant into the calamity that unfolds from that. Millions and millions and millions of people are killed in World War I because of an assassination in some part of the world that most people had never even heard of. Provocations escalated the whole situation with the assassination leading to World War I. And it got me thinking about how God's way is so different. I mean, there's Jesus nailed to the cross. Instead of this provocation being answered with provocation, Jesus says to his Father in heaven, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they do. Forgive them." And it got me thinking, what happens if the emperor of the Austro-Hungarian Empire had stood up after his son had been assassinated and had said, "I forgive you. I forgive the assassins. I forgive the Serbian people for instigating them to this. I forgive you for this." If he had done that, there would have been no World War I. Or if the Serbian government had written a letter or sent an emissary to the Austro-Hungarian emperor saying, "We are so sorry for what happened to your son. We ask for your forgiveness. We never meant this to happen. We offer our solemn and honest, heartfelt apologies for what has unfolded." You know, there wouldn't have been World War I, and millions of people's lives would have been spared. And how different it is between the two realities. God calls us to be instruments of love and good works and forgiveness and mercy and kindness. And when we do that at the micro levels of our lives, we sabotage the possibility for world wars. ISIS is beheading people on video to try to provoke the West. And I'm not against the Western military intervening in certain circumstances for justice reasons or to protect people. And there's probably lots of good things going on in Iraq and in Syria that the West is doing, but let it not be done as a means of provocation. They didn't provoke us into this. We did it because we recognized something needed to be done on its own. We must put to an end the means of provocation in our lives because it causes catastrophe and calamity in lives. It sabotages families. It ruins marriages. It ends work relationships. It even brings down corporations because of the infighting that goes on between our desire to provoke one another. Let's instead turn all that energy provoking each other not to anger and vexation, but to love and peace and joy. And when that happens, God's life-giving, glorious will that's done in heaven will be manifested here on earth. Let your mouth and your thoughts and your hands this day be the instruments of God's glorious peace to life, and you will be fulfilling your primal destiny as a son or a daughter of God. You are the instruments of peace. The Prince of Peace came into this world, born to extend God's reign of peace, and now you, as his disciples, can be also the instruments by which God makes peace known on earth. Let peace begin here in my life, in your life. In that peace, go.